Alright guys, we are back. Welcome back to the channel in a new video, in a new setting, in a new room. Yes, things have changed as you can see. We are in a new game room. We're still in the same home, but we are in a new location. My daughters are finally of the age where they were ready to split up and have their own bedroom, so we gave them that, and we had this big open space down here we weren't using anyways downstairs, so we moved the game room down here. So you'll have a tour of that video coming out hopefully in a couple of days. I'll edit it down and everything and try to do the best I can at making it look cool, but I'm not good at all that fancy editing stuff, so it just might be a nice little game room tour to show you guys the space and what we're working with. Again, we're still not able to display and show off everything, and it's still a work in progress, but since we've kind of changed scenery here, I figured I'd go ahead and give you guys a tour of everything and how it's set up right now. But in order to break in the new room and the new territory, I wanted to get a video made, and I figured let's talk about the top 5 most expensive games in my PS2 collection. And we'll do this with multiple systems that I have, but I figured we'd go ahead and start with the top 5. So let's get into it and I'll show you guys what we got. These are the top 5 games in my collection, and we'll start from lowest and work our way to the highest. At least I go by Game Eye. That's how I track my whole collection. Could be off, but these are the games that they say are my top 5 PlayStation 2 games that I currently own. So we'll start off with number 5, that being, that game is Guitar Man Complete in Box, and it says that it goes for about $135 USD. So a game that I actually finally finished and beat this year. When I first got it many years ago, it was nowhere near the price it demands now. I could not get past, I think it was like the 3rd stage. It was like a shark flying spaceship stage that I recall from, especially from playing it again this year. It was so tough back then, but it turns out I might have just been having controller issues, because when I played it this time around, really didn't have any problems and was able to play through and beat the game, and it was a good time. $135 worth of a good time? No. So I recommend, if you can get this on the cheap, it is a really cool game that you should try to play. There's the PSP version as well. I do not know if that is more expensive than this one. I own both, but I elected to play the PS2 version, and yeah, I still had a good time. It had catchy tunes. It's a music rhythm game where you're following stuff. It's not like Parappa the Rappa. It's a little bit more in-depth than just hitting the buttons. You actually have to use the right thumbstick and stuff to guide your guitar tunes and everything like that. So really cool game, but I wouldn't pay 135 bucks for it. All right, and coming in at number 4 with a value of about $175 is Echo Night Beyond. And I highly recommend you guys go check out an old episode of another gaming podcast that me and Alex, Return to Mother Base, did on this many years ago, when we finally decided, you know what, we both own it, let's play through it. And it was nowhere near $175 in price of that it's demanding now. I can't remember what I got this for, but it was way cheaper than that. But really interesting game. If you read the back here, it's pretty cool. It says 2044 Moon Colony, horrific crash has left you separated from your fiance, opening the door to the lunar colony. 239,000 miles from Earth, you find a desolate base haunted by the spectral remains of those who called it home. Prepare to embark on a paranormal journey to the beyond. And it's pretty much like a walking simulator from what I remember. It's been so long, I have a bad memory. Kind of a walking simulator, maybe some minor puzzles in it to solve, but it's about just this story of being on this planet and trying to find your fiance. And again, I don't know why it demands the value it does. Maybe it's because From Software is connected to Age Tech and they've grown in popularity over the years. But again, 175 bucks worth of entertainment, you're not going to get it here. It's not that long of a game, and it's an old, like, kind of janky PS2 game. But we still found ways to be entertained by it. I just highly recommend you check out that episode of it. I'll leave a link of it in the description below. Alright, coming in 3rd place, and this game is valued at $179 USD. And it's a game that has the arrow pointing up, so which means it could be on the rise. And that is Def Jam Fight for New York. This game is awesome. I love this game. I bought it when it first came out on the GameCube originally, back when it launched back in the day. Me and my friends love this game because we love wrestling games, and this was all of our favorite hip-hop artists and stuff just going at it, duking it out with great controls for a wrestling game. I love the basic hold A for grapple or tap A for grapple for your grapple moves. customize a character with these awesome arcade-like super moves and finishers. And the way it kind of incorporated the crowds and environment around you to kind of beat up your opponents too was really awesome. Of course, really awesome soundtrack. A lot of these games probably do not justify the cost, period. Like, that's a lot of money for any game. But out of these top 5, this would probably be the one I'd put my money on, just because it's so much fun. It is incredible. I still need to get the copy on the GameCube, and for the longest time I thought the GameCube had held value higher than this, but PS2 kind of overtook it a couple years ago, so I'm not sure the differences in it or the graphical quality or fidelity. Maybe this one's a little bit better, but anyway you can get it, this game is awesome. Can't recommend Fight for New York enough. Number 2 on the list, it says it's at a value of 188, but the arrow is pointing down, and there may be reason for that, and that is Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. And I actually got this copy from Devil May Pie here on YouTube. I forget what it was for, if it was a Secret Santa or just a trade or something like that. I have to go back and check the tapes. But he had sent this to me, a complete in-box copy in great shape. And at the time, it was nowhere near the values, again, like a lot of these that are now. But of course, they have a brand new Budokai game coming out, a sparkling something, I forget the name of it. But normally when that happens, it starts generating a lot of hype for older games in the franchises. It was kind of interesting to see that this one is actually going down. But this one received a lot of praise just because of the combat and how great it is, and the cast of characters in it. There's so many characters you can play as in here, it is crazy. Story modes, arcade modes, all sorts of modes in it. Really great game. Alright, so we are at number 1. What is the number 1 most valuable game in my PS2 collection? It says it's valued at $222, and that game is Xenosaga Episode 3. Of course, you guys know I love the Xenoblade franchise. But believe it or not, when it comes to the PS2 entries of the Xeno family of games, I haven't really dove into them. The first one I pumped a lot of time into, but never got the chance to finish it because I traded my PS2 away for an Xbox so I could play some Halo 2 action. So I never got to finish my journey in the franchise, and years later when I finally acquired PS2s again and I have all the games in the series here, I just never put away the time to go ahead and play through them again. They say the first one has so many hours of cutscenes, it just kind of gets crazy. But from when I played it back in the day, I know I put at least 20 to 30 hours into it. I was actually really loving the time I put into the series. So it's one of those things as well that it's, with today's day and age, they're always re-releasing games from the past. We had Star Ocean Second Story come out. We had Trials of Mana remade. And I keep thinking, is there a way they're going to package something together for this? Gonna be like some kind of Xenosaga package coming out. Doesn't need to be remade, but just like some higher resolution graphics or something. And maybe they'll do something to cut back on the XP grinds or something. Who knows? But it always makes me put off from starting some of these older ones because you think maybe there's a chance they could do something today with it. But I need to get to these. Because for now, this one's sitting there. It is the most expensive one, but it's one that I haven't even popped into the system. So let me guys know what your most expensive games in your PS2 collection are. Do you care about the values of your games or anything? I know for me, I don't really care. It's more about the enjoyment you can get from playing it, but it's a little cool thing to talk about. So if you have expensive ones in your collection, let me know. Leave it in the comments. Catch you guys in the next one.